What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to share with you the Bible that I'm going to be using from here on out for journaling, note-taking, and just anything wide margin Bible related. This is the ESV Preaching Bible from Crossway in the verse-by-verse edition. They only made this in the premium edition so far, and so unfortunately it's not accessible in like their True Tone editions. But I'll give a short review of this as I go along. But I wanted to focus on why I chose it and kind of what I plan on using it for. For the past few years, I have been using the CSB verse-by-verse wide margin from Holman as my note-taking Bible, and I honestly have to say this is probably my favorite Bible that I own right now. And unfortunately, it's not the translation I use most often. I really love the CSB, but I primarily use ESV, NASB, and New King James as my reference editions and just general reading. So it's hard to spend a lot of time in a translation that I am not using other than note-taking. And so I really wanted to move to a translation that I have in my mind, that I have very familiar experiences with, and that is the ESV. Now, this one is probably the best paper out there for a Bible to write in. I think it's a 36 GSM, very opaque, and just the overall fact that it's a super thin Bible for being so big and have a 10-point font and verse by verse. The CSB verse by verse wide margin, if you're a CSB user, that's the one to go with, and I would not recommend anything else. But changing to one such as the ESV, I had a couple choices, and I will show the other one here. This one is the ESV Strident from Schuyler. This is the saddle brown calfskin. I had to choose between these two because they are both verse by verse and single column wide margin. The Schuyler is not quite as, I would say, open a layout as the ESV from Crossway, but it has all the cross references and would make a better study Bible in the sense of having those extra features. But the paper is a 28 GSM, and this Bible, for a personal reason, was given to me, and I wanted to start utilizing it in respect of that. So I opted for the Crossway over the Schuyler, but eventually I will probably use this Bible. This is still going to be my secondhand companion to this one for the duration of its use, but I probably won't write in the Schuyler. So a quick overview of the specs on this one. The block is a 9 1/8 inches tall by 6 1/4 wide by 1 1/2 inches thick. A little bit more with the cover because this one does have a little bit of yap. It has a really nice soft goatskin cover, 4 raised spine hubs, Holy Bible, ESV, English Standard, and Crossway, and 2 tiny little black double satin ribbons. I am going to actually swap these out for probably 3 Beresfords, and I'm probably going to go with gold, I would imagine. I think red would be too bold for my taste in this one. But that's really the only downfall of this edition, is the ribbons being so small. Interior has a black, probably calfskin, I'm not sure what exactly the material is on the liners, gold interior gilt line, vinyl type end sheets, and then kind of a rose gold art gilding. And this one does have an Oxford hollow, can't really see it in there, but it's there. Now for the interior, I have already started writing in it, claimed it as my own. Have your publication page, and then contents. Not really going to spend much time in that because that's not why we're here. And then we get into the Old Testament. This has a lot to commend it, and I will go through all of the things that I can think of that I like about it and the specs, and then kind of get into what I have in store for my use of it. So the text is labeled as a 9.75. To me, it reads like a 10. It's a very large font, verse by verse, and the columns are justified. The outer margin is 1¼ inches, so you have a decent margin there. And then functionally, and I say that because in some of the sections in the middle, you're not always going to be able to actually write in that very center of the gutter. Functionally, the inner margin is around 5/8. So you still get quite a bit of writing space in the inner margin, and then you also have a good amount at the top and bottom of the page. So looking at Genesis here, it does lay pretty flat at the very beginning, which is a plus. Verse numbers are the same text size as the major text itself. Pilcrows indicate new paragraph sections, and then the verse numbers are indented from the edge of the page, so you can see where they start by looking at all the indentions. It drives some people crazy, but I don't really care about that so much. It's not something that bothers me. The textual footnotes are at the bottom of the page. This one does not have cross-references, so it's just the text of Scripture, pretty much considered a text Bible if you go to look it up under that category. Poetic settings are also in verse by verse and justified text. I know a lot of people like having the poetic settings hanging where they aren't justified, but they do it on this one, which does end up occasionally leaving you with a line that has one word, and that's what bugs a lot of people. So the system I have in store for this, and you can see that it is black letter, words of Christ are not red. I have a three-colored system for this Bible. I have black, red, and blue. And my main goal with going through it in this simple way is I want to be able, at the end, to look back over this Bible and be able to point out the main flow of the text. And I don't have an exact system formulated in my mind yet for how to do this. I do have some ideas, but the general idea is black is for writing in the margins, note-taking in the margins. Red and blue, probably blue primarily, will be the noting and underlining, highlighting in the text itself, so you have a contrast. And then red, probably for amplifying things I want to remember, and then also writing in cross-references, probably in red. Just to have a very simple system that I'm not picking up a whole box of markers or pens to try to read through. I can easily carry this around and have this available to use when I go to read. I don't have a plan on how to read through it. I'm probably going to more or less do it in a case-by-case basis. I'm not probably going to start at the beginning and work my way all the way through, though in some sections that might be how it works out. I'm really just kind of going on the spur of the moment with how I do this, so just having fun. And this is the first one I'm actually planning on going through systematically using the same system all the way through. It'll develop for sure over time, but I'm really excited to dig into it. The only thing holding me back at the moment is I am reading through my New King James as the beginning of my 2025 Bible read through. So once I finish that, I will dig into this one. It does have a concordance at the end. I will probably rarely use it. I was practicing a little bit on how the Pilgrim Micron would look on the page and how they would bleed through, or ghost, or however you want to phrase that. So I circled blood. Can't see anything there. This 36 GSM paper does hold the 0.1 microns very well. Some people go with 0.5, but I find it's too fine, and I struggle to have the right pressure because I don't want to damage it. I have used it before, but 0.1s work perfectly well, and there's a lot of room on this text to write. So that is going to be my potential and theoretical plan for this Bible, the verse-by-verse Preaching Bible from Crossway, and for the foreseeable future, my Bible of choice for note-taking. So thank you all for watching this video, and if I had anything in here that was inspiring to you, you're welcome. Once again, my boiler kicks in right at the end of my video. That one was actually unintentional, but thank you for watching, and I really look forward to getting more stuff out there this year.